Cello, we're back for week 3 after a absolute bloodbath in Pittsburgh, but also in our picks.
Yeah, I mean, I saw someone say a really funny line about the Steeler Browns game. There were more guys down on that field than there were in the opening scene of Saving Private Ryan. Oh my God, I felt so bad for Chubb, man. I gotta tell you, the Pittsburgh fans are real classy. I mean, they did standing ovation for him cheering his name on the way out. I mean, they get it,
Yeah.
rivalry or not. I think that's a classy thing to do. And it's such a shame when you see such a devastating injury in football. It makes everyone cringe. It actually makes the players stop and take a knee. They're just so distraught over that because, I mean, damn, I mean, your career could just be over on any play. Like, it's
Even
just,
Minka
it's
Fitzpatrick
just,
went to the sideline and he was like, I think he was throwing up.
he was hospitalized.
No, after that play.
Yeah,
he
I know,
was,
but he went to the hospital after the game.
no, I know, but I'm saying
He has
after that
he has a
play,
chest injury.
let me ask you a question. This is a conspiracy theory. But after
Yeah.
that play, did he go to the sideline and throw up and hang his head out of guilt because he did it on purpose or because he hurt himself?
No, listen, first of all, I think you're confusing two plays. He didn't throw up after that play. He hurt himself and took himself. He was out of the game.
No,
Came
but
back in the game.
but he was
Came
on
back.
the sideline after that play, hanging his head.
He might have been hanging his head because he had a concussion, but that's not because of that hit. I mean, these guys know he was the first one to go up to Chubb and say, "I hope you're okay." Like they're not. These guys are warriors. That he's just tackling him low because Chubb, you can't tackle Chubb high. Chubb is too good to tackle high. He'll run you right over. So you have to go for his legs. It's just unfortunate. It was an unfortunate thing. But Minka was throwing up later in the game after he chased down Ford on that 70-yard run and tripped him up. Yeah. And when he landed like on his chest, I just think it took everything out of him. I don't know if he's going to even play Thursday. I think he is, but I don't know. But it was just scary to see. I mean, listen, nobody likes to see that, especially to a franchise player. So that one, I'm going to say, I feel for you there, buddy. That's a tough one. I know you got Kareem Hunt though today. That's pretty good.
Yeah, we'll take it. But
yeah,
that loss hurt. It was a lot. I woke up at 3:00 in the morning. All I could do was think about it. How bad Deshaun played, what happened to Nick, the fact that we can't beat you, all of it. It all just fucking came to a head.
I bet you did. That's a tough. I mean, listen, that would have been a tough night to sleep through. I mean, that was some physical game. First of all, that is that the longest game that's ever been played. I mean, I feel like I was watching that game for 4 hours.
And I thought the officiating, that crew, I don't know that guy, the black guy with the glasses, but he is awful, absolutely horrible. And he did not have control of that game. He made several bad calls. The first bad call he made, I can't even remember it, but it was against Pittsburgh. And I thought it was a horrible call. I thought he was terrible. The whole thing with Deshaun Watson pushing him. Yeah. He pushed Deshaun first. He pushed him in the chest. I mean, when do you see an official do that?
That's probably why Deshaun hasn't been suspended, because
he was like, "Get off of me! Why are you pushing me?"
I think Deshaun lost his head a little bit in that game. Like he's got to be way more composed than that. Like he stiff armed a tackler, Kwan Alexander, out of bounds, and then took him by his face mask and threw him into the bench.
No, I know
that has to be penalized. I mean, you have to. Also,
I don't remember which play, but there was a blatant face mask that was not called on the field.
100%. Remember that? That was on the sack of Deshaun Watson, where
that guy watched that happen and didn't call it.
That was a bad miss. They missed some stuff. You're right. I mean, it moves fast. Listen, we have the slow motion replay, Jack. For us as viewers on 75 and 85-inch TVs, that, with these pixels, we can see everything.
I know, but they're standing right there. It's just unbelievable. And then I thought, I know you said, the when Ford picked up the first down, when it was like 3rd and 6 and he ran for it and they called holding, that was so unbelievable that they called holding there. That was not part of the play at all.
Was that the play where he tackled him, right? You can't do that. Yeah, you can't do it.
Listen, it wasn't blatant. It was well away from the play. It did not spring that open. It did not
He
had
was kind
nothing
of
to do
diving.
with it.
He was diving toward the ball carrier and got dragged down to the ground.
No, Cello. He was not anywhere near the fucking play.
That's a
That's
different
why
play.
it was so unacceptable. You can't. You
I'm
just can't
thinking of
call holding like that away from the ball.
Then I'm thinking of a different play. If that's the case.
God.
It's very frustrating. Listen, I've been on the wrong side of all these things. We all have. We're gamblers. Nothing usually goes our way. You understand? We've all been through it. Everyone listening to this thing has been through the agony. Wait till I mean, we'll get to some of these things that happened this weekend, but boy, oh boy, this was a rough weekend to make money. I mean, our consensus picks were not good for the first time, and we should have been 2-3. Let's face it. I mean, we got so screwed by the Rams coach. I mean, it's an 8.5 point line. We had it at 7.5 in the contest and on the show. And San Fran's up by 10 with 4 seconds left. And the Rams on 4th down trotted out their kicker with there would be no time left for an onside kick. There's really no reason to do anything there other than take a knee.
You're wrong.
And he kicked a field goal to cover the spread.
I know.
And then ran out there and shook the guy's hand. I wanted to strangle him.
You're wrong, by the way, about that. I don't know if you saw. I don't know if you saw the first or the second comment on TikTok when they showed that the one that was.
I'm not on TikTok. I don't do the TikTok.
Guess what? If there's a tie at the end of the season, if your record's tied with another team, they go to point differential for the tiebreaker.
Point differential. So do you think those 3 points that the kicker got there could come down to that?
No, not could. It is an actual. If the records are tied, they use as a tiebreaker point differential.
Okay. If McVay was thinking that way, which I know he wasn't,
of course they were.
Maybe I'll give you that. I'm thinking that McVay said to himself,
at any opportunity, you have to try to score if you have the ball. It's just a fact.
I'm just telling you this, like okay? With the prevalence of gambling and everyone knowing that everyone has, he's got Rams fans up the wazoo that took those 7.5. And he said to himself, you know what? I'm going to throw these guys a bone. They support us all year. Why wouldn't I cover this spread for them?
And you know what's so funny? What did I text you? I was like, there's one of our picks that I don't like.
San Fran.
Yeah. No, just it's twice now. And, you know, there's only been 10 picks.
Yes.
And we're 40%. I mean, there's plenty of season left for us to get back into this thing. But I don't know if you remember, but last season, one of my mantras was NFC West dogs.
It worked.
Once again this year.
Yeah,
it happens to have been the Rams both times, but laying 7.5 on the road. I don't care who you are, San Francisco. You're playing a division team on the road, and just feels like too many.
I'll say this. They had the game won. There was a 1-minute drill. Stafford moved the team down against that defense because they're playing that soft prevent fucking bullshit that I hate that these teams do at the end of the games, especially when you're laying points. You can't stand it. You're like, just why are they stopping playing? Keep playing the same way. But they don't do it.
I know.
So, and I understand why, because they don't care how many they win by. They know the game's in the bag.
Right.
I get it. But it's really frustrating when when you're in that
time was left when they were up by 10.
A minute, maybe 1 minute and 10 seconds, and they kicked off and they marched down the field and kicked the field goal.
Yeah,
it's impressive. Stafford's been good. I got to tell you, and that receiver that they got from BYU is lighting up the league. Like, he's setting records that have never been set for 2 games into his career. I think he has 30 catches. I mean, the guy's been unreal. Nakua. I picked him up in fantasy. I had him on my bench. He had 35 points. I should have started him. I'm an idiot.
We were wrong about the bounce back of the Cincinnati Bengals. And maybe that was because it was a division game, or maybe they were going to take, a few weeks to bounce back.
Well, that game all came down to Burrow throwing the interception. Burrow threw an interception in the 4th quarter in the end zone that he didn't need to throw. So if that goes in, the Bengals are up by 4. Instead, he turns it over, and we lose by 3.
Yeah.
This is what happens. Turnovers kill you at any level of football, but especially the NFL. And
I said it about Cleveland.
Yeah.
Oh, Deshaun played so bad, and he's getting absolutely roasted in the media this week. And you know what? He should. He
He
should.
made some really good throws late in the game down the sideline to Amari Cooper and one to another guy. I didn't even know his name, but I mean, you guys were abusing Levi Wallace, who's our
Mhm.
worst corner. I mean, he
Yep.
was getting abused.
Yep.
And we don't have anybody until Joey Porter Jr. Like, he's a rookie, so they don't want to start him yet, and Patrick Peterson's on the other side. When
And
he did get
he's
tested,
not great anymore.
he's old, but he knows how to play. He's savvy.
Yeah.
He's savvy, he's seen it all.
You guys
So
pick up these. You always have one of these corners on your team that was like,
past his prime.
yeah, from other
Totally.
teams.
100%.
Right. Who
We
was
did
the
it with
Brown that you had?
Joe Hayden.
Sutton. Yeah. Hayden. Yeah.
Joe Hayden.
Yeah.
Joe Hayden was good for us.
I
He
know.
actually helped us beat New England at home in a playoff game, which was remarkable because we never beat New England, obviously.
And you have, I think you have also, isn't your middle linebacker the guy that we didn't sign? 55.
That's Holcomb from the Redskins.
He was on Cleveland.
Oh, was he? Yeah, right. You let him
He
go,
was
then he went to
incredible.
Washington.
I
Yeah, he's
loved
very
him.
good. He's a very good
He's
tackler.
still good.
Dude, he tackles.
I
He's
think
a
he's
tackling
leading your team
machine.
in tackles.
I told you that on the first podcast. The kid and the other kid, Roberts, that we got, he ran the Miami defense and Holcomb ran the Redskin defense. Somehow we got them both.
Yeah.
And put them in the middle. So those guys are really good middle linebackers as far as tackling goes. So, listen, we'll get to all these games and we should probably get into it, but we did get screwed on a couple of those calls, man. But that's what happens. That's why the namesake of the league is, thank God it's not real money.
God, was that ever true this weekend?
Sure was.
All right, let's kick it. Let's kick into it. Want to make a bet? Still
should
cranking.
be a fun week.
Still opening, and yeah, I mean it's good to let's just get back on the bike. Starting tomorrow night, Giants are catching 10.5 on the road from the 49ers.
Wow.
Wow, the Giants looked bad again for an entire half.
First half.
I know. And they suddenly turned it around. I just had that feeling they were going to win that game, but I was pretty certain, I don't know about you, but that they were not going to cover.
Yeah, I had him in a teaser, which thank God. And that worked out for me because, I thought all week long in the New York radio, you had guys screaming, hey, we got to blow out Arizona. If we don't blow out Arizona, they stink. They're trying to lose and blah, blah, blah. And, these guys, and what they do, they went out there in the first half and they basically vomited all over themselves and they looked horrible. They were basically down 60-0 after 6 quarters of football. The Giant fans, Giant fans at halftime. I mean, look, think about what Reed was texting. Oh my Lord. But, yeah, listen, there's 2 halves to a game. I guess halftime adjustments are very big in the NFL. And whatever they did worked. I mean, I think if you look at Danny Dimes' stats, it might be one of the best halves of football quarterbacks had that I've seen in a long time. I mean, threw for 3, ran for 1, no picks.
Yeah.
Impressive. Really, really impressive.
Question is, so the Giants, I mean, I have my official rankings. I have them ranked last now. San Francisco, I have ranked second. Giants offense 32nd. Their defense is 29th.
And no Saquon. Saquon twisted his ankle. So you're not going to get Saquon. You're going to get Matt Breida this week.
Wow.
Matt Breida was a San Francisco 49er. That's an interesting angle. And the Giants are coming off, obviously, on a short week. They're coming off one of their best half of football they've played in years. So I don't know. 10.5 seems like a lot to me. I have a problem, obviously, falling in love with the Giants because I have part of my heart likes the Giants and I want them to be better than they are.
Yeah, I know you've let that cloud your judgment in recent history. Like last year,
I have, and you know what? I don't. It's going to be really tough for them to win this game, but can they cover 10.5? I mean, I think they can hang around. I think that's a lot of points in the NFL. And, Danny Dimes, I mean, San Francisco historically has, and I got this from, what's his name? Dan Orlovsky, who I like as an analyst. He's really thorough and good, but San Francisco, he says historically on defense really struggles against running quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. They have a very hard time stopping them. So he said in the game plan should be 6 to 8 designed quarterback runs for Danny Dimes. Because they have a hard time with that. So we'll have to see how it's coached. I mean, I would think their defense can't play any worse. The Giant defense has been awful.
Yeah.
Dexter Lawrence got like paid so much money. I don't think he's made a tackle. Has he played? He's horrible. So eventually these guys have to start playing. I mean, San Francisco is a real team that, they have, obviously we know how good they are. They're good everywhere. The only weakness they may have is left tackle. I mean, right tackle. Sorry. The left tackle's great. So the question is, are they good enough to blow out the Giants? Most people would probably say yes, being that the Giants have only played 2 good quarters of football all season, but I'm going to take the 10.5.
Okay. I'm laying it. I think it's too many, but I can't bet on those guys. Let's remember that was Arizona they were playing.
Yeah, Arizona's played pretty tough, man. They played Washington tough first week. They're not laying down. Dobbs has looked pretty good for Arizona, I think.
Yeah. They have a bit of a chip on their shoulder. I get it, because everyone thinks they're supposed to be horrible.
Correct.
But eventually, I think even they themselves will start to believe that. I don't know how long it'll take, but division game, no. I don't know. A lot of travel. I don't know if the Giants stayed out there this week. They probably did. But I'm not going to bet on them.
It's really hard. It's it's a big advantage for San Francisco. I'll tell you that, because for them to go and play essentially a home road game at the Rams and then come home for a short week at home, it's definitely a huge advantage for them. This is definitely a heart play for me. I won't put any units on this. I'm just saying it, but I'm going to take the 10.5 because I like that hook.
Okay.
I think that hook could be big.
I think, if we look at a lot of these other games, covering 10 is a lot. I mean, Buffalo did it. Dallas did it.
Yes, they did.
Against bad teams. So
that was my favorite pick of the week last week and my survivor play. I called that game perfectly. I said, this is an easy cupcake game for Buffalo coming home. This is a get right spot for them. And man, Josh Allen looked great. Really, really good. And so did the defense.
Okay. So you're on Giants. I'm on SF. Next game, Indy, Baltimore, 7.5. Ravens look good.
Is Richardson playing, or is it Minshew this week? I think he's got a concussion.
I think it's Minshew. I'll confirm that right now. But yeah, I heard that this morning. Let me just double check. Yeah, he's questionable.
Okay.
He didn't practice today. Actually,
I think that makes a difference because, I mean, he's a matchup problem for everyone.
Yeah.
Listen, if it's Minshew, I mean, the way the Ravens have been playing, I mean, it's very hard to go against them. I know they had the Texans in week 1, but going to Cincinnati and winning is pretty difficult to do. I just wonder if they let down here. The line's 7.5, right?
Yeah.
Damn. I don't really love Baltimore laying this many points, but I don't trust the Colts with Minshew at all. I would take this. I would take the Ravens here, just based on the fact that they're at home. They're playing really well. And, it's Lamar Jackson, against that defense. I think he should be fine.
Okay. I'm taking, I think it's too many for Baltimore. You know how they are with covering big numbers.
I do. I mean,
I think Richardson will like sit out the whole week and then play in this game. And they've been good. I wish we would have taken them last week. We both agreed.
I had him in 2 teasers and they won both for me. So that was good.
Yeah.
I was getting 8 points. I jumped on it early. Actually, that was a big line move. That when I was betting him on Tuesday, I was getting 2. By kickoff, they were -1.5.
Yeah.
That's a big line move.
Who did Baltimore beat in week 1? I just feel like
Houston Texans.
Yeah, they haven't really got a bit of an easy schedule here. I don't know. Cincinnati, it's hard to call that easy, but
second week in a row on the road for a Colts team with their backup quarterback going into Baltimore. I mean, I don't like their chances there at all.
I think Baltimore's at home, Chell.
That's my point. The Colts are on their second road week in a row.
Yeah. Oh, I see.
And they're going into Baltimore. I don't like the Colts in that spot at all. I like the Ravens a lot. I might actually take them in Survivor.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sticking with it.
Yeah, stick with your guns, man. You got to go with your gut. It's like multiple choice test. You always go with your first answer.
Third game, Denver at Miami. Denver's terrible. They're getting 6.5. I can't believe they're not getting more than that. Maybe that's. What do you think of this one?
I think Denver's defense really let me down last week. I mean, I cannot believe the second half that they had. They had a 20-3, 21-3 lead in that game. The offense was looking good. Russell was playing well. And I thought their defense was way better than that. I mean, maybe I'm just underestimating Eric Bieniemy's effect on the offense in Washington. I did not think that this kid Howell was as good as he showed me in the second half of that game. I mean, he made some incredible throws and showed a lot of moxie. Like on the road in Denver, I was stunned by that. I did not, and it wasn't as close as the final because remember, there was a Hail Mary at the end that went off like four guys' hands, and Denver caught it and then missed the 2-point conversion to put it in overtime. So I know it looks, there are people that didn't watch the game. You would think, oh, Washington won by 2. They really didn't. They really won by 9 with the Hail Mary. But Denver is now all of a sudden, I'm thinking their offense isn't the problem. I'm thinking it's the defense. And how the hell are they going to contend with Tyreek? I mean, I know they have Surtain, who's great, but I mean, you can't shut them both down. I would have to say the only thing that gives me pause is that 6.5 line is the same 6.5 line that Detroit was laying to Seattle in a similar spot. And there's a lot of people coming out of the woodwork this week starting to talk about Miami winning the division and the AFC. And that gives me pause. I'm going to take the 6.5 here on a hunch.
Yeah, it's funny. I have their defense ranked 30th.
Who's Miami's?
Let me just double check that. No. That's Denver's.
Yeah, their defense has not been good. I'm really surprised by that. I really am.
I'm on Miami. That's too much of a mismatch for me. That's the number one offense versus basically the worst defense.
Short week though, coming off a Monday night on the road, coming home, something to consider, and a big division win against New England.
No, that was Sunday night.
That was Sunday night, right?
I just think you know what?
Looks so easy on paper to take Miami, which is why
I'm going to say they keep it rolling. They're all healthy. I don't like betting into a team thinking that they're going to like either let up or bounce back. Like I'm starting to like just prefer the trend, and the trend right now is Denver really does not look good at all.
Yeah, the two teams that you would think are going in the two teams going in opposite directions, but why is the line less than a touchdown? That gives me pause. I mean, they're trying to tell you something there. I'm going to take Denver with the 6.5 and hope they keep it, within a score.
Yeah. All right. I'm on Miami. Wow. We're really different this week. And I've been ice cold, so that might not be good. Next game is New England -2.5 at the Jets.
This will be a fun one for AFC East people. Man, wow. Yeah. Can Zach Wilson do it? That's the question. Can he get a win against Belichick?
This under must be in the mid-30s, by the way. How is anyone going to score in this game?
Well, the Patriots offense really isn't as bad as you think. I mean, they had chances against Miami the other night. That game ended
36.5.
What's that?
It's 36.5.
Yeah, the under, yeah. That game ended the other night. New England had a chance and they came up, like half a yard short on some crazy freak lateral play. But I thought Mac Jones looked pretty good. And I think Ramondre Stevenson's pretty good. And the Jets defense didn't look so great last week. I get it. I get that they were at Dallas. I think the Jets have to go into this game with a completely different game plan than they had in Dallas. They have to run the ball 40 times.
Yeah.
They're not running the ball enough. They gave the ball. Breece Hall had 4 touches. Dalvin Cook, I think, had 5. I mean, with a quarterback like Zach Wilson, you have to figure that Belichick's going to try and take Garrett Wilson away, right? He always does that. He takes the best receiver and says, "You're not going to beat us. We're going to beat us with other people." I think the Jets have to come into this game and load up that line and just try and run it down their throat and try and win a low-scoring game. and hope their
Yeah,
defense can come up with some plays. I don't see another way they can win this game than that.
I agree, and I think they will win this game. I don't know what you think, but
Yeah, I
I'll,
like the Jets. I like them at home. I mean, it's hard to think of New England going 0-3. I don't think they've played that poorly, New England. They just have had some bad fourth quarter luck against the Eagles and Miami, and also their strength of schedule has been unbelievable. Um, Clearly with the teams they've lost to, but this is going to be a real battle, man. I mean, neither one of these teams can really afford to lose. I mean, the fact is the Jets are at home and it's a division game, and you got to win division games at home.
yeah,
Same way the Steelers just beat the Browns. I mean, it's going to be a very closely contested game, and the Jets have to find a way to win it. And I think they will.
I
So I'm going to
agree.
take the 2.5.
They're so closely. I have them so closely ranked here. It's just unbelievable. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. I think it's a must-win game, and I think they'll get it done. Um, I know Patriots have owned them, I think, in this series, right?
They
Or
have.
is it a
They've
road
owned them.
series? I don't
They've
know
owned them
this.
for
I don't know the
a long
stats
time.
on that.
They've owned them for a long time. There's no doubt.
Yeah. All right, we're both on Jets. Oh, we have that Jets. Okay, next up is none other than Houston, Jacksonville. Jesus.
That's a division game. What's the line there? 9.5 or 10?
Yeah. Nine and a
Nine
half.
and a half, right?
Yep.
Man.
God, was I wrong on this? You were so right on the Chiefs in this game. Jags aren't ready to beat these guys.
Did you know it was Patrick Mahomes' birthday when you made that call of taking Jacksonville?
On the day of the game?
Yeah,
No, I didn't know
I didn't either. But when I heard that, I just smiled from ear to ear. Said, "There's no way this guy's losing on his birthday when they're 0-1."
that.
That was like a sure thing, you know. That was like in
Houston.
Wall Street when Charlie Sheen goes up to the old broker and he goes, I got a sure thing. Put all your clients in it. Anacott Steel.
And that old guy, what was his name?
He was great. A guy coming in there late. You want to be like this guy coming in here slinging stocks at 70?
Let me just see. Houston is ranked 30th for me, 25th and 19th. God, they're terrible.
Don't get caught up in the rankings, Jack. You got 2 weeks of data. I don't think
know.
it's that important.
Yeah, just taking a peek.
It doesn't. None of it matters until you have real data. Which my friend Andy Batan, who's friends with that, I keep bringing him up because he's been in the league and he plays in Vegas a lot. And he said his buddy told him you can't even really consider Wong teasers till week 7 because what's happening is the first 6 or 7 weeks, the guys that are making the lines are just not that sharp. They don't have enough data to make the real line.
Yeah.
And so he's waiting till week 7 and after to start considering Wong teasers. And that's maybe why a couple of them haven't worked early in the year. He said they just don't have enough
on the
data.
Steelers, right? Week 1. The San Francisco.
Yeah, there was one. Yeah, against San Fran, exactly. So there have been a couple that haven't been great, but that was the reasoning that he gave me. So, and it kind of makes sense to me. Again, you can't make all these lines if you're crunching numbers and you only have 1 or 2 weeks worth of numbers.
Yeah,
it's tough to crunch numbers and expand it out over a longer period of time. So, this game is an interesting game because the Texans really. You would think Jacksonville coming off a loss would blow their doors out, and that's the way I kind of think about this game. I think Jacksonville will score in the 30s, and the Texans may hang around in the first half for a while, but they don't have enough to hang on, against Jacksonville. In my opinion, Jacksonville is a real top 5 to 7 team, maybe in the AFC, and Houston's lucky to win a game.
Yeah.
So I like Jacksonville minus 9.5.
Shoulder pain. Stroud played through that shoulder pain though on Sunday, right?
He did, man. He's got some players. He's got that receiver that he begged him to draft that they took, that kid Dell, who had a nice game. Nico Collins is very underrated. And if you're not in fantasy, you probably don't know about him, but he's a real number 1 receiver. I just don't think they have enough. I think Jacksonville is going to come in angry off a loss. and they're going to look to beat up Houston. I think they're going to put up 38 themselves in this game. So I don't see Houston scoring 28 points against Jacksonville. I just don't see it.
I don't know about the score, but I'm not down with this laying this much wood to a division opponent.
I understand that. That makes sense.
I'll take Houston.
Okay.
Yep.
That logic makes sense to me too. Sometimes I
I'm like playing. I totally agreed when you said that about like Buffalo against the Raiders. That made perfect sense to me.
Totally.
Like laying that much
against a non-division team.
Yeah.
Yep.
and what's funny was that money was flying in on the Raiders as we
I know.
Remember at 1 o'clock. It went to
That's
like
right.
8.
Yeah.
Now similar situation. San Francisco Rams. Why lay that much? And that was a road favorite of a huge number. But I just don't think in these division games you can just forget about the records. And I even think they had a few chances to cover in that game against the Colts, right? Or was that line was?
Listen, you could tell me all day long. I watched the end of that game, the San Fran game. We were on the right side there, -10. I mean, -7.5. I'm sorry. That freak thing with a field goal at the end with no time left. You got to have a set of balls as a coach to do that. And I'll tell you this, San Francisco's going to remember that the second time they play them, and they're going to bury them. Okay, that would fucking piss me off if I was a coach of the other team and you did that. I understand if there's 8 seconds left and you have a chance to get the onside kick and throw a Hail Mary. I totally understand it.
Right.
And if you're going to justify it with that tiebreaker nonsense, you can go ahead and do that all day long. I think it's a Bush League move.
Okay. I don't disagree. Next one up. So I'm on Houston. You're on the Jags. Hold on. Tennessee, Cleveland.
Where's that? Oh, in Cleveland?
Yeah.
Oh, I love the Browns.
Yeah, we picked up. I'm so glad we picked up Kareem Hunt. That it hurts losing Nick. It also hurt losing Hunt in the offseason. I hated to see him go. I loved the fucking 1-2 punch with them together. And so this to me is the most seamless transition to get a new running back, and Ford looked great. I think the combination of those two, I mean, we don't have the workhorse, sort of back, but still I'm happy having Hunt and Ford.
I think it's very smart that you got him. Obviously, he knows the playbook. I hope he's in shape. He knows all the terminology. I think it'll be a seamless thing for him if he's ready to go. The one thing that would give me pause this week, I don't think the Browns are going to be able to run the ball that well. Tennessee's very, very good against the run. Mm-hmm. You have to beat them with the pass. Yeah. So Deshaun Watson this week, after all this criticism, he's got to throw the ball to Peoples-Jones, Njoku, Amari Cooper, anybody but that guy 88 who's got stone hands. Anybody. Throw it to anybody, not Elijah Moore, your tight end who dropped the first pass.
Yeah. That was can you believe that's how the game started?
It was unbelievable.
Harrison
it really
Bryant.
was incredible.
And he scored against Cincy. Yeah. He had a great game.
It was unfortunate for him to have stone hands like that. Very fortunate for the Steelers to have that start the game there. But I will say, I like the Browns to bounce back. I think it's a tough loss against Pittsburgh. I think they're not going to lay down after that. I think that is going to be a springboard for them to get back up.
Yeah.
And they'll use the emotion, I think, of the Chubb thing to help them at home this week. What are they laying? 2.5?
3.5.
Oh man, they're 3.5 or 2.5?
3.5.
Oh, it's 3.5. Yeah, it is 3.5. Tennessee seems to be in so many goddamn close games. It freaks me out.
Yeah. This is a dangerous game, and if they're not careful, they could lose.
I'm going to take the Browns in this game.
Yeah. I mean,
I like them off a bounce back. I think Deshaun's going to be better. I love your defense. Man, your defense plays hard. I know that that you lost 2 guys in the secondary. That one guy, Schwartz, thinks he's the best nickel in the whole league. The guy Newsome that you lost. Did he break his elbow? Is that guy all right?
Yeah,
that elbow did not look good.
I think I was looking at the report earlier. Hold on. I think he's playing. He's fine. Hold on.
Okay, good. And you also lost Ward in that game.
No.
I mean, that game was a war. That was a war of attrition.
People were just, like you said, people were just leaving the field.
Yes.
and so many of them, like, let me just make sure Denzel's not, like, Zadarius Smith, questionable.
Denzel left the game.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
By
he's
the
fine.
way, he's so
He's not
fucking
even,
good.
yeah, Greg
He's
Newsome, questionable.
okay. Yeah, he's got the elbow. His elbow bent the
Yeah,
wrong way. I
day to
saw
day, day to day.
it.
Not nothing. I don't think it's too serious.
Denzel Ward's really good. Miles Garrett, really good. How about that rookie kid from Ohio State? How about the size of him? That offensive lineman you drafted.
Oh my God, that kid. Can you believe it?
Remember what I wrote?
Six
Orlando
seven.
Pace 2.0.
I know. 6'7", 375.
I'd never seen a guy that big. I cannot believe how big that guy was. He's going to be really good for you.
Did you see the basketball highlights?
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Doug and I were laughing. Could you imagine that guy in the low post? He'd score every time.
Imagine having to guard him if you're Benny.
I guess that's kind of like what's playing against Shaq was, right?
Um. Anyway, I'm hoping more than anything that we just bounce back. I'm a little concerned that that we sustain some emotional damage, like the same way that I personally did that night, just losing to Pittsburgh, and just it was a battle. And I think it's a concern for both of our teams this week and bouncing back from that game after just leaving it all on the field, and a lot of people banged up. You guys have a tougher bounce back just in terms of the travel and
I know.
going to play someone who I can't believe you're laying only 2.5, but we'll get to that in a minute. But
We
I think
never
our
beat the
game,
Raiders
yeah,
when we go there. We only beat them at home.
we're playing a tougher opponent. But I'm so glad we're playing at home. And
Why is the
yeah,
line 3.5? The line's trying to tell you something.
yeah, but I think it's too many.
I think Tennessee's overvalued. I think Tennessee's overvalued by beating the Chargers the way they did. And everyone, you would look at that and be like, oh, Tennessee, not only could they easily cover the 3.5, they could win the game. I mean, they're in every game. Every game's close. But I don't think Tannehill's played a tough defense, really. I mean, the Chargers have one of the worst defenses in the league. So
Yeah,
Tannehill's going to have a real hard time
they're ranked
against
last,
Cleveland.
by the way.
Yeah.
So I know that's a short data set, but they are the worst defense in the league this year.
I mean, I could easily see the Browns picking him off a couple times. And he can't move. I mean, Garrett will kill him if he's standing in the pocket too long. All you got to really do is stop Derrick Henry, which I think the Browns are pretty good against the run.
Yeah.
Najee couldn't get anything going.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take you guys, even though you're definitely banged up, but these guys are football players. They sit in the ice tub, they take the meds, and they're ready to go. On by Sunday.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's funny. I have us ranked 5th, and it's not because of our offense. It's our D ranked number 2.
Jim Schwartz. I said it to you the first week. I go, that guy's a difference maker for your defense. Very talented group.
So I'm with you. I'm on Cleveland.
Okay, good.
Let's move on. The next game is Atlanta. Speaking of 3.5, Atlanta plus 3.5 at Detroit. We were wrong about Detroit last week.
We really were.
And we were wrong once again about Seattle. Can't figure these guys out.
Yeah, Seattle really bounced back nicely off that second half against the Rams. They were terrible.
Yeah.
But man, did they play a nice game anytime you can go into Detroit with this offense and Dan Campbell, their home opener. Seattle impressed me on offense. Lockett was amazingly good he could still run routes. Metcalf is a dangerous receiver, as we know. They always have tight ends that no one's ever heard of that just make catches.
I think this is the end of the road for the Falcons and their little run here. I don't think Ritter is very good.
I agree.
And I think this is kind of like their first, okay, they beat Carolina last week. They beat
the Packers at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the Lions in this game. I can't imagine them losing 2 in a row at home. I think I don't think Atlanta's all that good outside of Bijan Robinson, who really is special. I can't imagine the Lions not winning this game by at least 7 points.
Yeah. I'm with you. I think I'm going back to the well with Detroit. I think
Goff's been really good.
23rd.
I mean, I know he threw his first interception in forever last week, and that was a critical interception that he threw to Seattle. but they still tied the game, went to overtime, and they never touched the ball in overtime. Seattle just marched the ball all the way down, and Lockett dove for the pylon, and the game was over.
Why is Detroit's defense so bad? I mean, Hutchinson is great. Who are these guys that they're putting out there that can't, they're not keeping people from scoring. They got lit up.
They did the same thing
week one,
last
they
year.
played the Chiefs last week. I mean, they played two good offenses so far. You think the Atlanta offense is anything close to Seattle or KC?
No, I do not. I like Detroit a lot in this game. Like, that'll be a game that I will circle. I like some of these games with good teams coming off losses to pound weak interconference non-division opponents.
Yeah.
I like that theme.
Okay, I'm with you on that one. Let's move on. New Orleans plus 1.5 at Green Bay.
And there's a lot of 1 o'clock games. My God.
I know there really are. There's like 3 more after this one.
I like the Packers in this game. The Saints are a shoddy 2-0 in my opinion, and the Packers are way better. And it's their home opener. The crowd's going to be crazy. Love is very good. They're probably getting Watson back. I don't know about Aaron Jones, whether he's coming back, but I like the Packers defense a lot. I thought last week they'd struggle, second game in a row on the road in the NFL. I always think is very hard, but I really like the Packers this weekend in this game. What's a line?
1.5.
God, that is such an underlay.
You think?
Yes. Love the Packers.
I agree with you. I don't love them. And I don't want this to be like one of our consensus. I'm a little afraid of the Saints, and I like Carr. Like I said that last week. I think they're sneaky good, you know. I think I like what they're doing. He's playing with confidence. They got great receivers, right? All the Buckeyes. Maybe that's why I like them. But
you love Olave, I know that.
Yeah,
Michael Thomas is very
Michael
good.
Thomas is healthy.
He's great, and they got Shaheed, who's really good, young kid. I mean, listen, they have some talent.
And when is Kamara coming back? Is he's not back?
He's not. He's out. He's out this game. He's coming back week 4. But listen, it's a dome team on the road. It's their second week again on the road. This is a non-division game. I really like Green Bay here. I can't tell you. I think this is easy. I think this is an easy game for Green Bay. Very tough spot for the Saints. Saints are not a 3-0 team. Carr has not been that impressive to me. He's made 1 or 2 throws a game that have won in the game, and they have a very good defense. But that defense, again, in this spot, I think Love's going to be really good. Packers are always tough at home.
I'm with you. You talked me into it.
Yep. I think Green Bay is the play here.
Okay. I'm with you. Buffalo minus 6.5 on the road at Washington.
What an interesting game this is. It's 6.5 or 9.5?
6.5.
Wow. Is that a fishy line or what?
Yeah. Well, Washington.
I think that game opened at 9.5. Can you check that for me, please?
Yeah. Like the line history.
Yep. I thought it opened Tuesday morning at 9.5. I might be dead wrong.
Oh, you know what? I don't have that because I've been dealing with this feed issue.
I was listening to Michael K because what's his name? Peter Rosenberg is a diehard. He calls them the Commodore. What does he call them? The Commodores or the Commandos or something like that? Commandos. But he's a big Washington fan, and he loved the team at 9.5. So unless maybe they were wrong, maybe there's an injury to the Bills or something. I don't know why that line would be so much lower.
It was 6, Cello.
Really?
I'm looking at the line history at Pinnacle here. The first line that came out on this game on the 17th was 6.
Interesting. All right, so they had the line wrong.
And went to 6.5. 6.
What are your thoughts on this game?
Buffalo showed both of us and everybody else that they're still, I think an elite team in the AFC. Washington, and so I think they'll continue to play well, and I don't see any reason that I don't see them losing this game. Like I like to look at the big picture. You think they're going to look back on the season and see that they lost to Washington in week 3? No. So now the line, Washington has beaten, Nice win last week at Denver. Week 1, who did they beat? The Packers at home?
No, they beat Washington play week 1. It was not the Packers. I don't believe. Packers
Actually,
won. Packers won week 1.
I have it here. Oh, it was Arizona. And they didn't win that game very convincingly to me. And I know you say, oh, Arizona's tougher than, but
They really impressed me going out to Denver, though. I got to say, I'm impressed with what Eric Bieniemy is doing with that offense. I mean, they got some playmakers. Buffalo's defense is very, I think, is underrated. If that's possible, is that possible to say about them? Maybe I'm wrong. That they're very good. I mean,
I'm on Buffalo. I just think about, I'm just thinking now, like, I just think this is a big step up in class to who they've been playing. And they're not, they're a bottom half team anyway. Like, yeah, I know they're 2-0, but they're probably the worst 2-0 team that there is, right?
um, it's convenient to say that because nobody thinks Sam Howell's any good. The question is the system that much better? Is getting Bieniemy in there from all the years working with Andy Reid, and now you're starting to see him bring that system into a team like Washington, who's historically struggled on offense, but has always been a pretty good defensive team. Did you see
Yeah,
Chase Young without a shirt on last week?
I did.
Adonis.
I've seen that before. This guy's a mountain. It's like the
Oh my
mountain from
God, he's a
Game of
mountain of a
Thrones.
man. He doesn't have a shred of fat on him. How does he always hurt? What? How is he always hurt? That guy.
His neck.
Is that what it is? He
I
doesn't
think
even
so.
have a neck.
Yeah.
I don't even see a neck on him. He's neckless.
Oh God.
I'm going to take Washington. I think Washington's going to keep it close in this game. Josh Allen on the road on a slow grass track. They don't have a great running game. I mean, I know Cook is better. He's been better. I get it.
I can't do it.
I really don't have a lot of conviction with this pick, but I think 6.5 at home. I like that. I'll take Washington to keep it close and lose by a field goal.
Okay. Late. LA Chargers at the Vikings.
Wow. Can you imagine both these teams are 0-2 with all the firepower that they have on those teams? Is that remarkable?
What an over this is, by the way. I wonder what that number is. Hold on, let me see.
It's got to be 52.
54.
Yeah. I could see that coming in too. I mean, I don't see the Chargers, like I said this last week or 2 weeks. I mean, Chargers should score almost every time they have the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Keenan Allen had a huge week. I know Eckler's out, and I don't know if Eckler's playing. I don't think he is. That's kind of big if he doesn't play. But even Josh Kelly, and listen, Minnesota's defense is a sieve.
Yeah.
They can't stop anything. So
Eckler questionable.
yeah.
Keenan Allen's playing. Is that who you asked about?
No, I asked about Eckler. I know Keenan Allen's playing. He's been great. He went off last week. He had a really good game. This is going to be a shootout.
Didn't practice today. Eckler did not practice yesterday. Sorry, today. Yeah.
It's a pick'em game, right?
Yeah, pretty much 1.5.
And they're both 0-2. Wow. Remarkable game. The Vikings traded today for Cam Akers.
Oh yeah,
running back.
I saw that.
They're the worst. They're the worst running team in the National Football League. I think they have 69 yards rushing in 2 games.
Wow.
I don't know if Cam Akers is going to learn the playbook this quick, but eventually he's going to help them. But I have to figure the Chargers win this game at home. I know the coach is on the hot seat.
Minnesota's at home. Minnesota's at home.
Oh, Minnesota's at home?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
If Minnesota's at home, I'm going to take Minnesota.
Okay.
Simple as that.
I'm leaning that way too. I mean, I don't want this to be a consensus pick, but I'm with you.
I don't like Staley at all. I think he's a really bad head coach. His decision-making is terrible. Their defense, I mean, Khalil Mack, what is he doing? I mean, don't they have the other Bosa?
Yeah. Joey.
Does he play?
Yeah.
Well, why do they suck so bad? I don't get it. They're letting up. I mean, they give up so many points every week. I don't understand how they can't stop the other team. It's amazing.
They actually have a bit of a cluster injury on linebacker, like Boza, Kendricks, Henley, and Rumph are all questionable this week.
these are on paper, you'd say, wow, these two teams are good. Like Minnesota made the playoffs last year. The Chargers didn't make the playoffs, right? They were on the cusp. I don't think they made the playoffs last year. They might have, but I'm not sure. I don't remember. But to both be 0-2, staring 0-3 in the face, man, this is a big game.
Yeah,
This
I
is a
agree.
really, really big game for these teams.
Yeah, conference. It's not even like, I don't know. It's such a weird game at the same time, right? Like, why are they even playing each other?
I don't know, but it's wild. It's very tough to handicap with no line. It's basically, I mean, basically they're saying the Chargers are 3 point better, right? Because they're playing in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Without Eckler,
Well,
Justin
whatever.
Jefferson, my God.
We like the Vikings.
I don't know about I'm gonna go
Switching.
the other way. I'm
Ah,
gonna
he's
flop. I'm
switching.
flopping.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Justin Herbert because I don't think he can afford to go 0-3 in Mahomes' division. I think Minnesota pretty much they won a lot of close games last year and were kind of like a charm team. And this year they're losing a lot of close games. I think that's going to continue. And I think they're going to end up trading Cousins at some point, maybe to the Jets even at the end of the year or in the, before the trade deadline, because they
Yeah.
might just be out of it by then. So I would say I like the Chargers here. Pick them.
Okay. I'm gonna stick with Minnesota, even though it's like flip a coin, but I don't disagree with what you're saying. And I said that at the beginning of the season about them. I was like, they even in the playoffs last year, I was like, I was down on them when the Giants won that game. I picked that well. But it's, I just think what they did last year, like all those close games that they won, I said before the season that they're gonna lose those this year. So if they
And they
lose
are
this by a field goal, I won't be surprised at all.
totally right. I totally agree with that.
Okay. Carolina at Seattle, 5.5. God, I love Seattle in this game. I don't know why I like Seattle. Well, I didn't like them last week. I liked them in week 1 against the Rams when they shit the bed. But I think maybe this is the game that they sort of have that amazing home field advantage and demonstration. Big travel spot for Carolina. Like, what's the motivation for the Panthers? New coach, new
Well, they
quarterback.
got the rookie quarterback who's always
Yeah,
going to try and win his first game. I mean,
yeah. It's a
Thielen
weird
had a
line
pretty
on
good
them,
game.
right? 5.5.
Yeah, Thielen had a good game for them finally the other day. They played hard. They didn't give up. They scored a touchdown at the end of the game to cover that game against the Saints late
Yeah,
on Monday night. And now they got to fly out to Seattle. Seattle should be ripe here to beat Carolina by more than a touchdown. I mean, I kind of agree with you on that. Just these 6 point home favorite lines have not been working this year for some reason in the NFL. And I don't know. I mean, I would imagine they'd be ready to play good football coming off their first win. I mean, they did win a really good game in Detroit.
yeah. Why do you think this
Um,
line is so low? Or
I'm not understanding it. I would have thought it would be 9, honestly.
let me just look at see if there's any major injuries. Well, Bryce Young is questionable. That's interesting. Miles Sanders questionable. So why would they be? Hold on, let me just look at Seattle. Oh, Metcalf questionable. Maybe is that why you think?
I don't know. Maybe they're just, it's a week to week league. Seattle was really bad at home their first week. And maybe this is the kind of year where Seattle is an underdog is the one you play them, and when they're favored, you don't play them. I wouldn't put units on this game. I know there'll probably be a lot of people in Megabucks that just throw them in a 2-team teaser and say all they have to do is win the game
Yeah,
against a doormat Carolina team. And you can get into trouble thinking like that in this league. You really can. You know, all they have to do is win the game. But it's very hard to take Carolina. I can't do it.
me neither. I'm not. I think this should be one of our picks. I mean, we'll talk about that in a few minutes, but I don't see it. I actually think this is like being on this side of 7 is like an advantage
Yeah.
that I want to take advantage of.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you on that and hope that Gino, you know, doesn't screw us.
Yeah, yeah, I'm with you. It's like, who scares you on Carolina's team? And just look at what they've done so far. Like they got beat up by the Falcons, who are sort of, at best, at the bottom half of the top half of the
They're
league.
2-0, the Falcons, and you have them to win the South.
No, I know, but they're not like, they're not a top 10 team by any measure, or even top 15. I don't
Listen,
think.
Carolina, like you said, I mean, they're pretty much starting over, right? I mean,
Yeah.
so it's going to be hard for them. It's going to be hard for them and the Texans this year. Rookie quarterbacks don't just come in and win games unless they have teams like Brock Purdy, which are set up to win, and he's just smart enough to do what the guys tell him to do and not turn it over.
Yeah.
Similar to what Big Ben did his first year with the Steeler defense and the running game and everything we had. We just plugged him in and said, "Don't screw it up."
Yeah.
And we ran the ball and we played great defense and we went, to the AFC Championship game. It's the first game he lost to New England, of course.
Okay. 12.5. Bears, Chiefs. God, I can't believe I like Chicago again.
Did you hear what Justin Fields did today?
Well, I saw him blame the coach. Is that
Yeah.
what you're talking about?
Yeah, he did. And then he retracted it afterwards.
What he did in the end zone was unforgivable. If
Supposed to be that bet. I was covering.
That's the coach's fault that he threw it to a lineman. I mean, he's like, that was so bad. Like that was the only thing worse that I saw last week than what Deshaun Watson did from quarterback. And I didn't see every single, quarterback play, obviously, but that was so fucking bad when you're down by 3 with plenty of time to put a drive together to win the game or tie the game, and you throw an interception in your own end zone. You
to the defensive lineman. Don't even get me started on it because I was getting 3.5. I was infuriated when I saw that. I literally stood up out of my chair outside. I was watching the game on the outdoor TV. It was a beautiful day. I leaped up out of that seat and I just was whipping my hat to the ground. I could not believe what I saw.
Was anyone there?
That's son of a gun. Yeah, I was with Dougie and Mikey. It was unbelievable. I just couldn't believe what I saw. So they're going in the wrong direction, I think, the Bears, but man, 12.5. Jeez.
Too many.
That's a lot of points, man.
It's too many. I'll be honest. And I'm going to take Chicago in this game. Just like, cause we have to pick every game, but and I didn't go by my own, like, I love the Chiefs. Whenever the Chiefs are laying more than a touchdown, I don't like them in any situation. And it's usually at home. They don't cover at home, these big numbers. And I love them when they're only laying a field goal. That's why I'm mad at myself for last week that I didn't jump on that opportunity to take them against the Jags.
Yep.
Coming off that loss, it was such a perfect spot to take the Chiefs. And if you and I both liked them, I bet we would have put them in.
We would have,
in one of our top 5, and it would have just.
I never thought they could go 0-2, especially getting Kelsey back. I knew right then. I'm like, they're not going to lose this game.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you.
Said, I don't like the Bears. There's not much about the Bears that I like. You know what I mean? Their defense. They can't seem to put a full game together, but it's mainly Fields that's pissing me off and his play.
Yeah, but you're taking the 12.5 because you have a theory about Kansas City that when they're laying this many points, they don't cover games.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who they're playing.
Right.
I'm going to go opposite you here. I'm going to go opposite you. I think what's happening in Chicago is on the borderline of catastrophic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's catastrophic. I don't think they recover from it. I think this game could be 42-20. 40, something like that. I don't see Chicago's defense being able to stop Kansas City at all.
Yeah.
At all.
This is going to be
I think Kansas City's going to have their way. They're going to have their they're going to have their way with them. And I just don't know. I mean, Fields might rally and at some point keep them in the game, but that's the one thing about Fields. Like we're all waiting for him to do it. I drafted him in fantasy. I'm like, oh, this is the year he's going to do it. People in Chicago, oh, they're so excited, and then he's missing open receivers. He's not seeing the field well. He's throwing interceptions to linemen. He's blaming coaches. He doesn't have great personnel around him. I don't know. I mean, this would be a really big win for Chicago to shut everyone up and probably wipe a lot of people out of Survivor, which, and I know this is going to be a gangbang play probably in Survivor.
The biggest, it's got
But
to be, right?
I could not, I can't bring myself to taking the Bears again. I've done it twice already. And I can't do it. Not in Kansas City. When Kansas City needs to win, they can't go 1-2. You know, they lost that first game. They could put together here a string of wins, you know, to beat Kansas City. And it wouldn't shock me if they blow the Bears out. Really, honestly, I think they're going to blow them out.
Okay. Yeah, mine's just based on principle. I don't disagree with a lot of what you're saying, but just too many for the Chiefs.
Yep. I get it.
Da-
I get it. It's the NFL.
Speaking of too many, Dallas laying 11.5 to Arizona on the road. That's a lot of points. Is Dallas that good?
Yeah. And Arizona's been in every game. They've been really, really feisty. The thing is, Dallas is such a step up in class, man. They're so good on defense. It's amazing what they do. How is
They always win this game.
They got to be. They're second in the league against the run. I don't know. You know, if I don't think Dak is going to lay an egg here. I mean, I don't love Dak, as you know. I like Dallas here, like 28-10. I think Dallas is going to cover the number.
Really?
Like Dallas right now is thinking they know, like they have a feeling of how good they are. Their defense, Dan Quinn, phenomenal defensive coordinator, terrible head coach. We talked about it, but man, does he have this defense playing well? Parsons is unstoppable.
I know. He really
and
is.
the secondary is great. They have Stephen Gilmore and they have Diggs.
Yeah.
So like that was a smart signing by them to get Gilmore because Diggs, you know, they now have guys on both sides. Their D line is amazingly deep and they rotate guys in and they create pressure with four. And you never know where Mike is coming from. I don't think they're going to have a letdown here. There's no way they're looking past the Cardinals. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
I think Dallas is trying to win every game this year and make a statement with McCarthy. I like them in this spot. They normally play well in Arizona anyway.
Yeah. The problem I have with this is that this line in a normal year is usually Dallas -6, 6.5. And now it's 11.5. Like, are they that much better this year? Like they're gonna Arizona, who's been in both games. Let's be honest. They've been in both games that they played right to the end. And now they're getting double digits at home. That's insulting. So just think about if you're in that locker room and you're playing it's a division game getting 11.5.
I think it gets harder and harder.
I'm taking Arizona.
I would say you're going to need a lot of luck in that game. I mean, listen, Dallas has outscored opponents 70-10 in 2 games. They just beat up on a really good defense in the Jets, like a top 5 defense.
Yeah.
And Arizona, I don't think stands a chance in this game. I don't know what you see. I know Dobbs has been good. James Conner's a nice player. I mean, I think this is a buzzsaw. I don't see them competing in this game at all.
I see a division game. I have Arizona. Where are they?
This isn't a division game. They're not in their division.
Oh, that's right. They're in the West now. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I actually, it's funny.
I like 28-10 Dallas.
I know it's a limited data set, but if you look at what Arizona has done in these 2 games, they are almost ranked. They're ranked 18th by my numbers. And so many teams that we spoke so highly of in this podcast are below them. Are below them.
Which is why I don't put any stock in those numbers that you're looking at until halfway through the season.
Okay.
I didn't want to hear about them until we have at least half of the season data.
Okay. But I'm saying I I'm looking at both. I have to. I know it's limited, but it is what you have, and the combination of that plus the division game. The historically division game. I know they're not in the same division anymore, but it's a backyard brawl from these two teams.
I don't agree with it at all. I think Dallas gets maybe 2 defensive touchdowns. I think Dak throws for a few. I could see potentially Arizona not scoring a touchdown. I gave them the 10 points because I think when they're down 28-3 or 31-3, they might get a late, oh, we're playing prevent defense. We got some of our starters out, kind of late touchdown thing.
How'd they score against the
I don't
Giants?
see this game being competitive.
How'd they
I
score
don't see
against
this
the Giants?
competitive at all.
Or the Giants are just that bad, or how'd they score against the Giants? How'd they go?
Yeah, the Giants defense has been horrible. I mean, so bad. Come on. They've been awful.
I know. I mean, I'm not gonna ever feel too strongly about this, but
listen, you and I agree to disagree on this game.
Yeah, they're showing
you
me
and I
stuff.
agree to disagree.
Okay.
Okay.
Next is your game, I believe. Steelers 2.5 at the Raiders.
Vegas is -2.5. You were wrong about that.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry.
You said Steelers. You said Steelers are minus.
Yeah, you're getting.
Yeah. So right away, I'm gonna tease us up to 8.5, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Can we win that game? Coming off the Browns on a Monday night, I don't like us in this game. I think it's gonna take a lot. First of all, we never win, ever won when we go to Oakland or Vegas. I don't care where. And the Raiders are coming off a loss. This is a really good spot for the Raiders, minus only 2.5 at home. I don't like. Listen. I love my team. I don't love us in this game.
Why do I like Pittsburgh? I just can't see it. I mean, maybe because I'm like giving you a lot of respect for beating us that on Sunday, but I just can't imagine you lose to these guys. But I agree. I know the history there, and you don't play these guys well. We
play them well when we're at home. We don't play them well there. And I also have another theory about the Steelers and AFC North in general, which I normally ascribe to our matchups with the Ravens. But I will say, because of the physicality of the game Monday night and the fact that the Browns have really improved. Like the Browns today are not the Cleveland Browns of the Roethlisberger era. Yeah. Let's just say. The Browns are much better this year. This is the best team that I can remember the Browns having in a long time.
Yeah.
So I put that defense on the level of a Ravens defense with the Ray Lewises and that battle that we used to have with them. And every time the Steelers played and beat the Ravens at home, we lose the next week. So now we have to go on the road and play in a place where we historically, and I'm going to say Vegas, Oakland and Vegas to me are the same thing. Yeah. In other words, we have to go to the West Coast, play the Raiders in their building where we never fucking win. Mm-hmm. And people are going to say, oh, it's only, we're getting points, right? Oh, we're getting points. And I won't bet this game because I will never bet against my own team, but I will not. I like the Raiders in this spot. I don't see how we can. Pickett has not been good, unless Pickett plays much better. Maybe he figured it out, the one throw to Pickens, but I think it's going to take a lot more than that to go on the road and win this game when they have the likes of Devontae Adams and Josh Jacobs. And isn't this the Raiders home opener?
Well, no, week 1. Yes, I think, right. Yeah, I
think it is. Yeah, I don't like us here. I'm going to take the Raiders.
Me too. I'm listening. We know our teams.
Totally.
I think you're spot on about the Steelers, especially coming off of what we both went through on Sunday.
Wow.
Monday night, actually.
I know.
Short week.
Short week, really physical game. Took a lot of emotion out of us. Everything. I just don't know how we're going to be ready to perform at that level.
Yeah.
And you know something? The truth is, in the NFL, there are very few games where you can win a game not being 100% invested.
That's right.
That's how good this league is.
Totally
you
agree.
can get picked off at any time by any team if you're not emotionally and physically ready to go. Doesn't matter who it is. I don't know how we can be ready physically and mentally for this game coming up.
But
in
why
this
do you
spot
think So why do you think Cleveland will be against the Titans? Just because
because they lost.
oh, because we
And
lost.
if we had lost against you, I would have taken us in this game
Yeah.
because I just feel like it's a completely different response.
Even though
Miles
you're only
Garrett,
one, even though you're only 1-1, you're not 2-0.
Miles Garrett, after that game, I'm telling you, Tennessee better look the fuck out. He
Yeah.
is pissed.
Okay, fair. We're both on the Raiders. Let's go to Philly. -4.5 at Tampa.
Is there 2 Monday night games? Is that what's? Oh wait, the Steelers are Sunday night.
That's right.
Oh, so that gives us a little bit more time.
Mm-hmm.
So the late Monday night thing still. Oh,
Interesting.
and Tomlin at night is usually very good.
Yeah.
Actually, more so at home than on the road. But still a tough spot for us. I'm not going to leave that alone. What's the first Monday night game?
Philly, Tampa.
Jesus, in Tampa, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this Baker thing has to come to an end, right? It's got to come to an end.
Monday.
Yeah. I think it comes to an end Monday. Philly's too good.
I thought it should have. I mean, they couldn't even beat the Bears were right there if Fields didn't fuck it up. But this is a whole nother ball game.
It is.
I think this is where Baker comes back down to earth.
And listen, Tampa's defense, and I always liked their coach on the defensive side of the ball, the ex-Jet coach. I think he's very good, Bowles. And Mike Evans is having a really good year. And obviously they still have Godwin. Listen, if Baker hasn't really been Baker yet. He hasn't thrown the bad interception. He hasn't turned it over the way that we know he can do it. He's avoided that so far in the 2 games, and they're 2-0.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is against a defense, another huge step up in class for them, right? I mean, you're going from the Bears to the Eagles. The Eagles were in the Super Bowl last year. The Eagles have probably one of the best rosters in football and then had the best draft in football on top of that. And they have 2 uncoverable wide receivers. We all know how good the Eagles are. What is the line? 5.5, 6?
4.5.
It's 4.5. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking Philly. I know. I do smell a rat at 4.5. I will say that. I can't believe the line's that low. But I will take Philly. I know they have some injuries on the defensive side. I don't think it's going to matter. Philly's going to outscore them.
You know what's interesting? This line came out at 6.5, and it's been bet down.
Jalen Hurts is playing, right?
Now even 5 at Pinnacle. Really
Jalen's not hurt. None of these receivers are hurt, right?
No.
Maybe AJ Brown. Is he questionable? Or Devonta Smith?
Everyone is fine. Hurts, Swift, Brown, Goddard, all fine. I mean, there's some backups. Like Gainwell and Scott and Boston Scott are both questionable, but
yeah, I like Philly. I think the Baker thing listen, the Baker thing's been a nice story. We had him week 1 at Minnesota, pulled off the win for us.
Yeah.
We went against them and we had that game covered. We're getting 3.5 with the Bears until Justin Fields threw an interception, on his own goal line to a defensive lineman. And now he's blaming the coaches. So, that's gambling. Sometimes, you have dumb players do dumb things.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think Tampa Bay is probably a little overvalued here.
Me too. And yet people are betting into them. But I'm not buying it.
Home dog Monday night. People love that.
Yeah, that's true. All right, we're both on Philly. And the last game of the week is none other than this is a replay of the Super Bowl, right?
Yes.
Rams Bengals 2.5. I think there's great value in laying less than a field goal with Cincy here. They're undervalued. The Rams are overvalued. I don't want to read too much into this.
I couldn't not agree with you more.
Right?
I love Cincinnati in this game. I can't believe I'm going to say it. I love Cincinnati.
Like overly like AFC North people.
No, I think the Bengals are really close. They were 1 play away last week from beating the Ravens. Ravens are a good team. Division game. There's no shame in losing the Ravens at your own field. Steelers do it all the time. Listen, the Ravens are tough. And
what I'm hoping, and I hope this isn't, maybe we misread the Steelers Raiders game because of this, what I'm about to say, but like our division is so competitive that when we play each other, we're going to have these fucking absolute wars. And when we go play others, we should win those games against these lesser opponents, like people from the AFC South. And you know what I mean? Not the upper echelon of the NFL.
Listen, I'm not going to disagree with you in that, because I like where you're coming from there in terms of the strength of our division. I get it. In similar fashion, the Eagles should trounce the Buccaneers in that scenario.
Yeah.
And I agree with it here. I think Cincinnati's way better right now, even though they're 0-2. And the Rams have looked pretty good.
Yeah.
The Rams beat Seattle in Seattle, right? They had this great rookie receiver. They got a nice young running back. They're very well coached. They have Aaron Donald. I get it. But Cincinnati, this is a must-win game for Cincinnati. Cincinnati can't go 0-3.
I know.
And expect to compete in our division. Forget it.
They won't.
And they're close. They're so close, Cincinnati. I think 2.5 is, I love Cincinnati at 2.5. Love.
I think I actually don't believe it'll be there by the time this game kicks off.
I would bet it now. Bet it now.
I'm just saying we have it in the contest, so it's done.
Yeah. Yeah. But, Jack, I couldn't agree with you more. We don't need to spend more time on it, because I know Burrow, his calf is not great. And if he doesn't play, they're starting a guy I've never heard of.
1.5. Wow.
I don't know what his name is.
Who?
If Burrow doesn't play, they're starting a quarterback I've never heard of.
Is that true?
Yes.
Jake Browning?
Yes. The only Browning I remember is Browning Nagel, who was on the Jets.
Browning,
he wasn't good, and he wasn't good.
The Browning driver you used to have in your golf bag in the 90s.
That's right.
Second string quarterback, Trevor Siemian, was released. Wow. Unbelievable.
Yeah, so that's something to watch, because Burrow's calf is not right, but and he aggravated it at the end of last game. But you know what? They got ice, they got stim, they got Toradol, they got lidocaine, they got masseuses. You know, he's going to be out there. You know what I'm saying?
27-year-old Browning spent time with Minnesota and Cincinnati since going undrafted in 2019. There's not even a at RotoWire. There's not even a fantasy outlook on this guy. They have nothing.
I don't think he's thrown a pass. I don't think he's thrown a pass in the league. So I'm hoping that Burrow plays. I mean, maybe we should put an asterisk here and say, if Burrow doesn't play, we're not taking the game. Okay. But as of now, I would fire in Cincinnati. I really like them at that line at home. I think it's an underlay. Like you, I have the same feeling that they're close. Cincinnati's very, very close to getting back, you know, and I think they should be able to win this game at home. The Rams are not what the Rams used to be, even as though they've been impressive in their first two games. I'm not buying into that necessarily.
Okay. So let's recap this. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have like 8 or 9 games that we agree on.
Is that true?
Yeah. Full card. I mean, you know, we're not into the bye weeks yet. So these first.
Well, let's do ourselves a favor. Month. Let's throw the Jets out.
Done. Cleveland. Let's throw them out also. I don't feel comfortable enough with the way that we'll respond and how well Tennessee hangs around. And I think even though we lost, I hear what you're saying, there could be a little bit of a hangover. And it wouldn't shock me if this game came down to a field goal at all.
Okay.
And I don't like the hook there. Detroit, on the other
hand.
Okay, I'm with you.
I love Detroit.
Let's keep going. The Packers.
Love.
Okay. Buffalo. Washington.
I have Washington. We don't agree on that.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I think that's a 3-point win for Josh Allen.
Okay. Seattle. 5.5 over Carolina. I love that game.
I don't like Carolina at all. I don't know how Carolina can compete in that game. I like Seattle. Okay. Let's do it again.
And the Raiders. I like everything you said about your team, and you have a good read on them, but Steelers, national TV, they're a better team. We're basically betting on them having a hangover. And
Yes.
if they don't, we're fucked if we take the Raiders.
All right, let's stay off that game. I don't really want to bet against my team. If we have five others, I'd rather find five others.
Well, we've got three and there's two left, and they're strong.
Okay.
Like it's Philly and Cincy.
I love Philly and I
Me
love
too.
Cincy.
Me
Yep.
too.
So what are our consensus picks? We need a bounce back week.
Detroit, Green Bay, Seattle, Philly, and Cincy.
Love it. So we have 4 home teams and 1 road team, which I like. And the road team we're taking was in the Super Bowl last year.
Yep.
I love these picks.
Yeah, and last
Love
week
them.
how many road favorites did we have?
We had a lot of road teams last week.
Well, we had, let's see. No, Cincy was at home. That
San Fran.
San Fran was a road loser. Giants were a road loser.
Yep.
And New England was a home loser. And
Cincinnati was a home loser.
Buffalo was a winner. Yeah.
And Buffalo won.
Home loser. Yep. All right. Well, look, we're 4-10. But there's only been 10 picks. That's a good thing. If we have a great week this week, we're right.
No, we're 4-6.
Right. Sorry. 4 out of 10. Yeah. 4-6.
Right.
Or 40%.
Yeah, we'll be back over 500 by after this weekend. I'm very confident in that.
Yep. All right, my man. Good to do the show early. I like doing Wednesday nights.
Yeah, Wednesday nights are great. You know what? It's funny. Like we don't really have a set night. So I mean, if anyone, no one's listening live anyway because it has to be posted. So we do that. We do the podcast when we can do it. I mean, we're both family men who have jobs, gainfully employed.
I like Wednesday because then we don't have to rush to get it out before the Thursday night game.
I love Wednesday.
Also gives us, it's close enough to the previous weekend because we're not doing a look back show that we can we still have it fresh in our mind. All the way these guys fucked us.
Of course, we have to be able to vent about how we got killed. All right. I mean, that's the beauty of the show. And God knows we get killed every week in games that we think we're guaranteed locks. So, you got to bet with your head, not over it. You got to use your whatever thing you have on your app there to prevent you. Maybe change your password if you have to, do something like that.
There's been many stories at wantomakeabet.com with teams and partners asking the commissioner to change the password.
So great. I love stuff like that. The history of the league is so fun. The players that we have, the bantering back and forth every week between all of us. Bunch of degenerates just attacking each other.
And a big game for the Buckeyes on Saturday night in South Bend, Indiana.
That should be fun, right? Is Notre Dame any good?
Yeah. They're like ranked 11th. Yeah, they're very good.
Yeah, Reed was saying this week's a huge week for college football. Like a lot. He put out the card. There's a lot of good games. You think Colorado can go into Oregon and give them a hard time or no?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah. They're big underdog there.
Yeah. I don't think I'm excited to watch them every week. I love that whole story. And I don't know if it ends this week, but this is their first real big time opponent,
Did you see Dion's kid got himself, what is it called? A Maybach, a Mavic or whatever that.
Oh, the Maybach. He bought one for his son.
I think his son bought it.
What? How?
With the NIL money.
That's disgusting.
By the way, I don't know about you.
Drive a fucking Volkswagen like every other college kid.
It's unreal what that kid's driving. Like that car might be worth, half my house.
Oh God.
It's unreal. But I've been I've been starved for content lately, obviously with this writer strike. I know I'm going on a tangent here, but so there's some shows I haven't seen. And Cappy's like, oh, you should watch Ballers. Have you ever watched Ballers?
Of course.
Yeah, I never saw it. So I watched the first 8 episodes of season 1 last night. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's keeping me interested enough to watch it,
Yeah, that's funny. You know who watched that? That absolutely shocked me when he told me he watched it.
Who?
My dad. For those people listening, first of all, my dad's 90, but this was a few years ago, and he's like, I watch Ballers, and I'm like, you watch that show's like coke and hookers on yachts, and I'm like, my dad's watching that.
That is so funny.
He's like an intellectual who reads all day long, and then he goes home and turns on Ballers.
That's just incredible. I mean, I would think he'd be watching like some documentary on the atmosphere or something like that. Oh,
totally. I mean, that's what he normally does.
The Big Bang Theory.
Not even, no, just like you said, like National Geographic.
World War I.
you know, like
That is awesome that he watched that. Oh man.
all
I
right,
love
buddy.
the I love the guy in that too. The Rock's partner at the financial
Yeah,
firm.
yeah, yeah,
He's so funny.
yeah. I love The Rock.
Yeah, it's really good show. It's fun. You know what? It's a lighthearted, fun watch. If no one's watching out there, put it on. It's on Netflix. It's all about, these NFL stars and all the money and
Yeah.
how they live, and just it's fun. It's cool.
All right, my man. Let's wrap it up. Great pod. Good luck with
Yep.
your selections, everybody. Get back on the horse, just like we're getting it. Thank God it's not real money. Could have never been more true this past weekend for us. Thank God I haven't really even been transactional betting at all. I mean,
That's great.
I put in like a home run parlay at DraftKings, but
Yeah.
it's this I've just been riding. It's too early and riding these
Listen,
contests. I survived both my survivor picks. I had Buffalo and Dallas.
very good. Very good.
And watch our top five. And like I'm waiting. I'm just waiting for more data and more certainty to come into my head. But I don't love anything yet.
What I've been doing to get my fix
Yeah.
is I joined, as you know, another league
Yeah.
in
Recognize
Megabucks.
it.
I
Yeah,
joined
yeah.
Recognize the Skills,
Don't
which
you
is
have
for less.
zero?
So I'm playing for less money.
But isn't that don't I looked at your balance? Didn't you zero out?
I pushed all in, and I'm at 42,000
Oh wow.
after
Nice.
the Steelers win. I had Steelers in the over,
Yeah.
tease parlay. I had a bunch of stuff teased in with them. But I've been getting my fill, in other words, through there, rather than losing real money at Caesars or DraftKings or FanDuel or wherever else I'd be losing money.
Yeah.
So that's the beauty of these games, is you're in for the entry fee for the whole year.
Yeah.
And if you have a bad week, you don't wake up Tuesday morning owing somebody $1,200 or whatever it is.
Exactly. Redepositing.
Yeah. And you know what? If you have a great week and you click on the thing in the morning and you look at the standings, you're like, goddamn right, I'm up there.
Yep.
What a week. You're like this. Start patting yourself on the shoulder.
Yeah.
And you're off to a good day at work.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, congrats. Hang in there. And you haven't really been active in Megabucks New York.
I haven't made a bet.
Nice.
I'm trying to learn, because that's I'm playing for more money, and I have a history of going way too early in that league and being just behind. I don't want to do that in that league.
Yeah, yeah. Smart.
Yeah.
All right, brother. Good luck with your selections. Thanks for joining us, everyone. And we will see you on the pod next week.
I love it. Good luck against Notre Dame, buddy.
Thank you. Good luck against the Raiders, and hopefully we take down the Titans.
Can we say one thing before we go? Syracuse football is 3-0.
Hey,
Syracuse football is 3-0, and I'll tell you, Schrader.
Left
I don't know if you watched any of the game the other night at Purdue. He was phenomenal.
Yep.
He was phenomenal.
Yep. Who we playing this week?
Army at home.
Oh, okay.
And then it gets tough.
Really?
Army at home, and then it gets tough.
We should beat Army, though.
I would think we should beat Army at home, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's going to be similar to last year. We were like 5-0 last year, too, in the beginning. And then all of a sudden the gauntlet came.
Yeah.
And that's going to happen again.
Last time Army covered, it was against Iraq.
Great line. I love it.
Hondo, I got to give him the credit from the New York Post. He came with that one year.
Hondo is great. I think he retired. I don't see his picks anymore.
Really?
You know who Josh used to like, the Wildcat in that.
Meanwhile,
in the
brother
Post.
Sean, we'll leave his last name off the pod, is running things over there at the New York Post. He could help us out with wantomakeabet.com.
He probably,
and he's in the league.
He could, and he should. And by the way, we should have our own picture up every week in the Post with our top 5 picks.
I agree.
Not a reason why we shouldn't.
Why not?
We're going to see him I'm going to see him at the reunion with Gerard in 2 weeks. I'll talk to him about it.
Can you make that happen?
Yeah, 100%.
All right.
All right, brother.
All right, man.
Have a great night, buddy.
You too. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.